Hi, everybody. I'm Larry Levin. Super excited to have you here. This is our very first episode of the Train Dog podcast, and I'm extremely lucky that who I'm doing this podcast with, because probably one of the best people on the planet, the most amazing people in the world. I want to introduce, but first I want to tell you why I think that about my friend here. He taught me how to take my Labrador, which was the craziest, nuttiest dog you've ever seen in your life, and make him completely off leash. I took him to Fashion Island. By the way, we're here in Orange County. I'm in Irvine, Newport Beach area. And so everybody has dogs out here. And he taught me how to take my dog to the mall, to the store, busy street, whatever, no leash whatsoever, walk right next to me, know exactly what to do. We get to the light, he sits down, knows exactly what to do. And before that, he was the craziest dog, pull on the leash, pull me right in the street, things like that. So, and the other part of Vladae, who I'm going to introduce here in a second, is that whenever I'm at Fashion Island or the Spectrum or something like that with Vladae, I run into him occasionally because he's always there training dogs, is that so many other people who aren't getting their dog trained, they come up to him and they're just, they want to bow to him because he saved them. He took their dog and turned that dog from a crazy dog like mine was into a dog that is really part of the family, somebody who is respectful, knows the rules, and it's just, he's super talented, and I'm super excited to do this with him. So let me introduce Vladae. He's known as the world famous, I'm going to get it right, Russian dog wizard, and welcome, Vladae. I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for such a nice introduction. Yes, I'm so sorry. You were one of my amazing client, and I have so many amazing clients in Orange County who truly enjoying their new relationship with their pets. They integrated their pets in their lifestyle. They proudly taking their pets with them everywhere they go and enjoy them under any circumstances, not just, around the home, or the dogs are not prisoners in the backyard or under household arrest. They have a life, and I'm giving them that life as I gave it to you in your relationship with your dog.
Yeah, you really did, and it made my experience with my dog, being able to take him off leash. Everybody I would see me would be like, "Oh my God, how is your dog not on a leash? Like, oh, is he going to run and attack me?" And no, of course he doesn't. He walks right next to me like a perfect gentleman, and it was such a pleasure, and it was kind of cool to show off, to be honest with you, to walk around your dog, at Fashion Island, and the dog's walking right next to you, and everybody else's dog's pulling them left and right and stuff like that. And so anybody who learns from Vladae can get that experience, in my opinion. You have to put some work in, right? But really, Vladae doesn't teach the dog; he teaches me, or he teaches the dog owner. So, Vladae, I want to ask you just, if I could, a few questions, because I told you before, we've been talking the last couple of weeks, and I've been starting to work with some shelter dogs, volunteering at the shelters, and actually trying to train some of these dogs to be really ready to be adopted. And of course, I'm using the techniques that I learned from you, because there's nothing like those techniques. Doglish, right? One of my favorite things is the way you speak to the dog, and you can maybe speak to that. But with working with these shelter dogs, when somebody gets a shelter dog home, and let's say you or I didn't train that dog, or you, of course, didn't train that dog, and then it's a perfect dog, and the dog gets home, and of course you're all excited, the dog's happy to be in the home, then you take it out for the very first walk, and it pulls you, right, and maybe pulls you into the street or knocks you over or whatever, because it's a 80-pound Labrador mix of something or whatever. What should somebody do? Obviously, getting training and paying for training can go a long way, but if somebody is just getting started with a new dog and it's a little bit overwhelming, can you give some tips and recommendations on how to get started, what someone should do at the very beginning?
Of course, but before we touch that subject, let's we discuss with you how dogs in the first place end up with the shelters or the rescues. Many people started with the love. They thinking that's the only thing the dogs need. Believe me, if the dogs needed love as just the primary source of their needs, my business would not be thriving, as many other great trainers who have a tremendous respect in Orange County. I have a great relationship with so many trainers I know. Well, the number one reason when the people confusing love with indulging, dogs confusing their kindness for weakness, and start to show some strength. Some just misbehaving, which could be bad enough, but some taking new step and becoming aggressive. So the people very quickly go from the love to the hate, figuratively speaking, and dogs end up with the shelters. Number one reason of the dogs getting into the shelter is behavioral problems, people. Behavioral problems. When the people getting dogs from the shelter, they feel so much about their past. But the future of the dog's future will depend on the present. Adopting the dog is giving the dog second chance. Second chance, people, can be your dog's last chance. It's statistically, if it goes on and on, I don't want to say, but it could end up very badly with the shelter dogs. We all know how many millions pets yearly around the world and in America utilizing, if I can even use that say, sorry, my English is not as good as the Doglish. And let me talk about Doglish as well. Yes, it sounds funny. It looks funny when I'm indicated. I'm going to give you some examples down the road, but it works. It truly works. I am Doglish teacher, Doglish, or speaking to the dog in the dog language. It's almost like I'm giving my clients not the second, third language, so they could directly communicate with their pets in the language they can understand. For instance, how many times people say, no, 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 no? I do believe. So many dogs in this country believe the word no is just their nickname because they say it so many times without any consequences. And no is no will never be any meaning for the dog for the many reasons. And the reason number one, because when the dogs adopted from the shelters, like I said, people feel so much for their past and refusing the bright future by not doing presently the right things. So back to your question, I would say the most important thing, let me ask all our listeners right now, Larry, grab the pencil or pen, whatever, so they could write it down. Yeah, you already have it. It's going to refresh your memory too.
We all need a refresher. I ran into you a month ago and you taught me something that I had forgotten.
And I always picking on you, and I always chewing you out, and I always do. And you love my personality, you know. Sometimes people misunderstand. I know it's my words, or people just have a very strange sense of humor, or they're too sensitive in Orange County. You know, just afraid to say something, you know. For instance, when I saw you with the wrong leash, what did I tell you? I said, what is this pornography you're carrying?
You made me throw it in the garbage. That was $45 right out of my pocket.
And you did it because my clients, my real clients, know if Vlade says it, I do it for a reason. For love to the pets, for love to the people. But anyway, number one, what the people needs to do when adopted pet, to ask the questions. It means they need to ask, they already, apparently those questions needs to ask even before they adopted the pets. But nevertheless, I would ask questions about dogs' history. Many times shelters truly don't know the history, but at least they can say, okay, if the dog is a little bit timid with strangers, how the dog with other dogs. So I start to get this information, and they're shelters people, they're honest people. Yes, they want to adopt the pets, but it's America. We like to and we have to say everything truthfully, and they will disclose everything what they know. So my point is, when the people adopting the dog, they also need to have an open mind. They don't need to believe. They should not believe proper behavior gonna come just out of the blue. You know, like in Hollywood movie. You know, it's gonna come. No. Even, I mean, it doesn't mean adoption. I mean, we always think adopting first, but obviously, if you get the puppy from the breeder, you gotta spend so much time to train the dog, to raise the dog. You know, And it does not even show, every dog coming to your home with some type of the background, the luggage, we say, behavioral luggage. So if you, like we like to see in Europe, if you warned, you armed. If you don't understand my words, Larry, could you translate it, please? What I meant, if you know something, you already prepare for something. That's what I meant.
A little bit of education beforehand.
Exactly. Secondary, you need to create survival kit. Okay? Because first week is a very critical for you, for bonding. See, I deal with this all the time, not with the shelter dogs, but many boot campers come to my home. We have no relationship with them. It's sometimes, we do conversions when the people start training with me, and after they tell me, Vladi, I will love you, but we have no time. We don't want to torture you or torture ourselves. Why don't you have a dog train it for me and we're going to work later? Well, I do that, but that time I have a relationship with the pets. But in a lot of times, pets coming to me home, in my home, they don't know me. So I need to build that relationship. So nothing wrong, people, nothing wrong for the first in a while. You understand that Canadian expression, for the first in a while, for the last? Americans would say for a while.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm from Michigan. That's why I speak with Michigan accent. Michigan is next to the Canada, so I've been in Canada a lot and work with their famous hockey players and things like this. But anyway, so first week, surviving time, bonding time. Nothing wrong temporarily to break some rules, people. Nothing wrong. Nothing wrong. I'm not saying sleeping with the dog. I would not suggest that. But nothing wrong occasionally, like invite the dog on the couch. Are you laughing? You No, I really believe it. Yeah, by the time you start to work with your dog is already was disaster. So obviously we need to, because from the dog's, you already lost all your control. So you need to take the strong measures in the beginning to position yourself like a leader. Because if you start your relationship, I would not say, if you already enforce in the dog's mind your relationship as equals among equals, like a buddies, equals do not take authority from another equals, from another buddy. So you already established in the wrong way, so we have to a little bit wind up, do it properly, enough to give that back relationship, which we're looking for what, Larry? What you have right now, you have now what? Partnership, yes? But we did leadership first before partnership, yeah? All my Americans clients love Larry that examples, because Americans, amazing people, hardworking people, they understand what cooperative world is. They understand there is no democracy in American corporate world. They understand there is a leaning hierarchy and the freedom within its social status, within the pack. We call it work pack. I mean, sometimes people are afraid nowadays even say about pack, but the pack exists. Pack exists in the workplace. Pack exists in the family, internationally. Look what the Russian Borzoi right now is doing. He's challenging United States, or I would say American Mastiff position. He does it together with Chinese Akita. They're challenging American Mastiff social status as the leader of international pack. Sure. So that's happening. It's nothing. I mean, that's a natural process. The same thing when the dog comes to live in your home. Remember, you don't come to live in the dog's home. Dog came to live in your home. So logically, you got to be the boss.
Well, my favorite thing that you say to everybody, right? I've heard you say in interviews, you tell all of your clients or whatever, right? If you treat the dog like a human, the dog is going to treat you like a dog.
The dog going to treat you like a dog. But after that, continuation, Southern California flavor now. That's okay to treat your dog like a human. Sure. But first, the dog needs to be treated like a dog.
They do it the opposite, right? They treat it like a human from day one, and then the dog, of course, takes over.
Exactly. What you means, what I said, nothing bad. What it means, who has less authority, has no rights, has no rules, has no meaning from the dog's perspective. You see, dogs have a tremendous respect to authorities. Any authority.
It's in their DNA, right? It's just in them.
Yeah. Canine authorities, human authorities, any authorities. If you're not going to be authority for your dog going to be authority for you. Insecure dogs will become fearful, can become fear biter, separation anxiety, many things can happen. Very confident dog can show some other behavior, can end up with aggression. So we can talk about endless, because as you see, I live with the dogs. I mean, I look maybe younger than I am, but I next year gonna be 60 years old, and I do it for 47 years professionally. My engineer on the right hand says that he cannot believe it. Well, let me tell him something. Celebrities needs to be looked that way. It's America. Okay, let's continue.
Let's just review what you said, because what you said, I just want to clarify, right? During the first week, you want to be a little bit relaxed, right? You want to maybe let the dog come up on the couch, but then tell it to get down and kind of teach it that, but also be a little chill versus letting the dog do whatever it wants, or trying to be, KGB from day one.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. I would not do KGB from day number one unless I really adopted the dog with a lot of problems. But even in that time, for instance, I would put the crate, and we're going to talk about crating. Many people feel so bad about this. And we can put this crate next to the bed, so you can even put your hand on the crate. Because I have to tell you something funny, because that's the people love. Human bonding and canine bonding has a lot of in common. Sleeping together. Yeah. Eating together and working together creates social bond. So it's okay, but sleeping together, I don't mean, together, but I mean you're on top and the dog is somewhere down. So let's say for 8 hours, how many hours you sleep? I don't sleep so many hours because I have a crazy lifestyle. But the dog looks from the bottom to the up and see you up. This is 8 hours training, people, and all what you need to do for that, just get some sleep.
Easiest training you can do.
Yeah, exactly. In the morning you wake up, drop some treats in the crate, say, good boy. And if the dog is timid a little bit, as you keep doing multiple things, we're not going to reveal all secrets right now, but my point is, it's okay to break the rules as long as you know the rules. Like we, again, say in Europe, I don't know if you know that phrase, that sometimes it takes to make one step back in order to make few steps forward. Well, people, if the Russians make one step backwards, it's just to get more bullets. So you always can come up. Yeah, but it's a balance. I'm all about balance. And even when we speak right now, it's a humor, it's a fun. I'm using language of analogies. I'm a highly educated person. I have a few masters in the related field. So, I worked in 5 countries around the world, people. Obviously, maybe, hopefully everyone understands me. Maybe sometimes I speak in a primitive language. Sometimes I speak maybe with Michigan accent. But hopefully main sense gonna come across. So that's surviving kid. We now go back. We spoke about you have to a little bit give the slack, when you bring the dog. We spoke about that we need to have some initial information. Now let's talk about surviving kid. So this set of the products you need to have before you bring the puppy in your home. Crate would be number 1. My friends, for instance, I love every breed, but right now my specialty is doodles. I love them so much. Obviously, I love labs. I love all dogs. But the key is we're also going to talk about, there's so many topics to talk. The specific training I do. Some dogs designed for that, more, some less. Plus, when I get older, I don't want to deal with too much work. I try to deal with the simplest of the simplest cases. So some dogs designed to be companion dog more than others. But every dog can be trained. It just depends on their efforts. Now, so we spoke about, so surviving kid. Crate is going to be number one. I would have, what the biggest mistake when the people getting the crate? They getting too small. Yeah, too small crate will create more anxiety, especially if the dog never been in the crate. For average dog, I would get extra large, 48 inches. If the dog less than 50 pounds, I'm gonna get a large, 42 inches crate, and so on. Metal, I would not get wide to open, so the dog would be confined, but have a part of being with you. Why I confine the dog? Well, overnight, obviously, why I do that? Because I would feel uncomfortable. My dog walk around, eat something, and after I need to pay $5,000 for surgically removal something. Sure. What about during the day, people? You have your own life. You need to go, get some grocery. You have to do this. Do you sincerely believe your dog doesn't know you, doesn't know your home, doesn't know anything? You just let the dog go in your home or lock in your backyard, and you think that's more humane. And after you walk away, oh my gosh, I would never do that. Never do that. And I can tell you how many terrible things happened so for me, I'm very conservative attorney. Even one bad case for me would be too much to handle. All right, so crate number one, obviously thinning balls. Obviously, I would get an aluminum one, obviously, not aluminum, stillness I would get, no plastic. I would get probably some urine cleaners. Yeah, people. No, anxiety, everything. It's so common. Even housebroken dog can get stressed, confused, and pee and poop some. Don't get mad.
Be prepared, right? Don't be prepared. I already have it.
I love it. Be prepared for unpredictable.
Because I think when you're right, when people like a dog will pee in the house or whatever, you don't have anything to clean it up. You get mad at the dog. You're like trying to use normal household things. If you have and you're ready for it, then and you know that this dog is new, and of course that can happen, then it's no big deal, and it's just part of getting the dog used to living in your house.
Don't yell, don't scream, it's not going to help. And you're absolutely correct. You say A, I will say B. Household cleaner, most of them has ammonia or ammonia duplicate some substance. When it's dry up, ammonia duplicate scent of urine over time. So that's going to attract the dog back and back. Even that simple thing, many people don't know. But anyway, I would get the toys, people. Really, really toys. When I do the toys, Larry, I'm going to give you some secrets right now. I normally creating at least few sets, and I keep alternating them. You think that's secret? No. The secret is every set consists of three type of the toys. Interactive, chew toys, and play toys. Interactive toys, it's something toy can play. Let's say he rotated it or make the noises or something like a treat's falling out of it, so he can interact without humans. Chew toys, it's something when the dog can chew and safely play on its own, also without interaction of the owner. We can list recommended me very conservative, which chew toys or interactive toys, which we know, which we tested on so many dogs. They love it and it's safe. Okay, And the third would be play toys. Play toys, Larry, this is made from the fabrics. Now time they're creating the new generation of the play toys without any stuffing. That's very durable. We can also list them as well. But those toys design you play with your dog. It's not something the dog lay down and chew on the play toy. If it happening, and first of all, I would never put it in the crate, this particular toy. I would put this when I am around my dog, okay? That's the key. When the dog is in the crate, I can give just the chew toys, not even the interactive toys. So, but I keep alternating them, so that it's like a child, so the dog would not get bored. But if the dog grabbing play toy and lay down and start to chew on it, you know, I'm momentarily will startle it. I mean, simple thing. I have so many things people can do, so many things. Oh my God. You always start with something simple, but after escalated. Clap your hands, for instance, in your hands. Clap it. Ah! Why I say ah? Because you want to change from the no. It's growling no. You change the word. But the big secret is when I do that, I invade in the dog's personal space and I freeze. Freezing means if you don't stop, baby, I'm gonna bite you. Again, speaking figurative language. Hopefully people don't understand we're suggesting to bite anyone. Believe me, nowadays you can meet the people even like that. I cannot tell you enough. I cannot tell you that.
I never bit my dog one time, but I do understand, and I think a lot of people who follow you on Instagram and know you know that really what you're talking about is doing what the mama dog would do, and and backing off the dog and explaining that in a maybe a kind of loud clap way that's not right.
Exactly. And the dog's mother is bitch. Sorry for saying that. Just a female dog. And actually, I had about 10 bitches when I was back in Russia, and I was a breeder with my Ukrainian wife and a German Shepherd. So I was a first-hand experience to see how they're communicating. And believe me, they bite, the puppy screams sometimes, and after they lick, and that's it. Next time the mom just growled, they stopped. I remember the time when we had our own baby, I like to say, when my wife got the baby, and I came home, and something just happened around that time, one of our dog got the babies. So I came home, and just I heard scream back in the back, where the dogs were. And I asked my wife, why did you go to check? What's happening? She said, excuse me, you're not helping me with the baby. They're not helping me with my baby. They have 7 mothers back over there, whatever they had it. They're going to figure it out. That's my Ukrainian wife told me. But that's, dog's mother knows best. She's not going to help the child. That's the key, is people humanizing them. They want to promote human concept of democracy. They want to treat everyone equal, especially in new millennium world. Parents and kids, teachers and students, humans and dogs. They all want to be treated equally. This is wrong, people. And the number one mistake again and again, when the dogs getting to the shelter, when the people started with the love because they felt so much for the past. But you need to, with some exceptions, start with discipline, and after that create doggy mama balance approach. Bite and lick, basically speaking in figurative language.
What about with the survival kit? The last one you gave me was the 3 times.
Yeah, surviving kit. Yeah, sorry, I have so many. Thank you for keeping me on track.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah, I know. So we talk about the toys a little bit. Now we need to get in some type of the corrective tools too. Because let's say dog doesn't know anything better. So what would be first proactive way to introduce? That is your home. You really need to mark your home that is your home. Sure, you think I'm gonna suggest to pee around them? I don't think the people nowadays will think that either. Believe me, they will. Some of
I mean,
them.
we are in Southern California, buddy. You never know what people will do here.
I cannot tell you enough. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love so many of my Southern California people like you, but I'm selecting one out of dozens and dozens, and not to treat them like a family. Because of the cases like those, because of the people like those, I start to afraid them. See, I worked in many other. I worked in New York. I worked in Michigan, in Arizona, Florida. Oh, I'm not talking about European countries. I'm talking America. It's a very. I mean, back there, people more like a dogs. If they like something, they lick. If they don't, they bite. You know, that's I like German Shepherd. They kind of have the same attitude. Unfortunately, some, I'm not talking all, but some people can lick and bite you at the same time. They cannot tell you truth. See, I'm telling truth to you, to everyone. You know me. You're wrong, you're wrong. They cannot just handle the truth. That make my life so difficult. But fortunately, just a few. But those few can ruin my life. Well, okay, so back to surviving.
Wait, the last where you just left this was, you kind of reminded me, you know, when you first came to my house to help me train my dog, I had a 3,400 square foot house in Newport Coast, and you took one look at this house and you're like, and the dog was running everywhere in the whole house, and you basically were like, you get 3,100 square feet and the dog gets 300 square feet. And you immediately made me move my couch and my chair. And that's what you're talking about when you're saying about the house, right?
Exactly. You know, back in the Soviet Union, by the way, Soviet Union was not as evil as the Ronald Reagan told you. But there was some issues, and one of them was, like I always like to say, my apartment back in the Soviet Union was a little bit bigger than your dog's crate, okay? But that was totally fine. So people, don't afraid, you know, to locate your dog in the small area, because the dogs, you can hate it, you can make pretend and say something differently, but they still then drilled creatures. And don't you sometimes like to go in a small area? Many of my clients confess to me, especially men, sometimes they're so annoying by spouses or whatever. They want to go in the bathroom, get the book or something, lock themselves out so no one ever. Dogs the same way, especially insecure dogs, love that sense of security. Yeah. So, I mean, speaking about the training tools, you remember we stopped on the marking your home. Let me give you one big secret. And by the way, we did it with you. Just put the collar and leash on your dog. I kind of like, if you work with me, people, we're going to use very sophisticated harness. I love it. I created it myself. Secondary, if you are not my client, you would like to do something, I always recommending harness by name, by company, Easy Walk harness. I like that. I love that harness, Easy Walk harness, because it's not matter of something do special. All what you need to do, put the collar and leash, or harness and leash on your dog, and start to walk around your home. And be a little bit bossy, no big deal, you know, dog a little bit pulling, you just a little bit, you know, vibrate your hand. Come on, let's go. It's like a show. You have to give a show, like a Donald Trump. Just give a show to America, you know. Come on, let's go. Become bossy. Nothing to be mean, you know. Like be a good actress, good actor. Use three tone of voices. High pitch, you praise. Low pitch, you discipline. Barking pitch, you command. Let's say Max. Max, let's go. Come on. Good boy. So the dog will hear, oh, yeah, and give a treat. So you're binding the dog, but you show it's my home. So this is what I mean by marking your home. So a little bit, walk the dog around, training your dog inside of your home. After that, I like to show the dog where crate is, where to pee and poop. So I bring the dog to the specific area outside, if that's gonna be the area, on the grass or whatever you chose, and just say, go potty, go potty, go potty, go potty, go potty, go potty, but unless the dog pee. Good boy, good boy, good. And after that, go poop, unless the dog poops. If the dog doesn't poop, all right, so make sure he doesn't poop in your home. So if your dog is not supervised, confine your dog. Confine your dog. If the dog is not confined, supervise your dog. It's critical to keep that schedule in a while so you could be witness when the dog does something good or bad. So after that, I need to understand. Dogs have 3 needs to be met. So I want to make sure I play with my dog. If the people following my Instagram, I know we're gonna list it. I am almost every other day showing to my clients how to play properly with their dog. So it's a physical exercise. The dog needs to run back and forth, back and forth, back and forth with constantly changing directions and speed. Well, I cannot do it. Why? Well, because my dog ran away. Sure, that's why I use 50-foot leash. You put the leash on your dog, but your dog needs to run. And there is two toys needs to be applicable. So when the dog, you throw one, the dog grabs it, you start to play squeak second. So the dog will think whatever you have is better than what I have, and come to you and you replace it. That's how you get physical energy, and I do 3 times per day.
That 50-foot leash, Vladi, that was such a big deal for me, and like it's so interesting because that was so instrumental in helping my dog to learn to come. Like he couldn't get away from me. I'd step on the leash; it would be so easy. It's 50 feet. He'd never get past 30 feet, and then it's like I've never seen one person in a park anywhere ever using that tool, and it's like lots of people. Have been taught by you, but like that tool, if you want to train your dog and you want to start getting them so that you can trust them and not have to hold the leash at all times, it's like, it's instrumental and very few people want to do it.
Yes, and to prevent some possible criticism, because I know how sensitive people thinking, it's my pet peeves. The leash needs to be attached, people, to the harness. It goes back grip harness. If you're using easy walk harness, you can flip it around, so you could attach on the back 50-foot leash for exercising, and after flip it around, and you're gonna grab on the chest for the training. So that way, if you step on it, it's not on the. So you see how I become. Yeah. You see what the people do to me. I was thinking they understand that. But they don't. Yeah. Do you know what happened one time? People heard, like I was suggesting, you have to listen to that story. I was on the big radio, and people were calling, and by that time we didn't have too many tools, but I used very successful by that time. I don't use it anymore. Specific horn. It's a company making it. It's like for the dog's design. Really tiny one horn. So you say and click, and it just boom, boom, like this. No big deal. So I explained that in few days, a program director called me and just say, Vladi, one of the person, he was so upset, something happened with this dog. I don't want to deal with this. Could you please call them and just help them out, see what happened? So I call and explain what happened. Okay, you're sitting well because you're going to fall down.
I'm sitting good.
So the person told me, so that's how people understand sometimes things literally. So she went to the marine store, which is buying like a marine ships, and she had a Yorkie, small tiny Yorkie, who barks in the backyard. So she got this as like a boat, marine one, clams like that. The whole her neighborhood was like, what is going on? She said, oh, my dog was petrified. Oh my gosh. I can keep talking about these things. Do you remember, Larry, back in the time when we were coming to each other home and Vladi was, I was driving all the way to Long Beach. For everyone who is hearing us, it's a lot of drive from where we're at with you, Irvine,
Sure.
Newport Beach. So I came over, and I look at that situation, I understood. This is nothing what I say gonna help that person. She's not gonna make it. So I ask you one question. What would make you happy with just my visit in your home? She said to me, I don't want my dog pee in my bed. Okay, no, that's fine. That's fine in my bed. We can go with you why the dog does it. But I looked in that person's eyes. I knew that nothing what I say or she understand or she will do it. So as I listening her, Larry, I looked down where the dog bed, where her bed is. So every time she leaves the house, her dog goes and basically pee in her bed. We know why the dog does it. We know everything. But anyway, I looked. There is a stairs. Dog is very tiny, Shih Tzu, and there is a stairs, and the dog is old. Cannot jump. The stairs were attaching to her bed, and I said, well, why don't you just take the stairs off your bed? She says, oh, such a great idea. I didn't even think that.
She had like 3 little stairs like right up to her bed, and she couldn't think to move that 3 feet away. So,
oh my God. One day we should have a show with you about all those funny cases. Believe me, something will make the people fall from the chairs. And from police officer, I will talk to you who cannot drink any beer or something before he goes to the bed, because if he goes outside of his bed to the bathroom during the night, he has a prostate problem, whatever it is, he cannot get back to his bed because his dog, a Rottweiler, lay down next to his wife. And every time, because it's a pack mentality. If you left, you cannot go back without. So he kept him away from that. So he afraid to even go to the bathroom because he couldn't get back to his bed. And you know what his wife was telling me? Yeah, he's right. Because I even afraid. She said, every time when I moved in my bed, that dog is walking up and biting me, and after start to show me scratches on her shoulder and my hand.
oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh, obviously I asked the police officer, what was your gun? Obviously, I'm kidding. Nowadays, you're afraid even to say anything.
Sure.
But anyway, it's a whole different story. I can write a book about those.
That would be a good book. Those are good stories. Is there anything else on the survival kit after marking the house?
Well, I would get maybe something... I would say we're using a little bit compressed air, little tools.
In the video that we're showing that you did here in KTLA, you're using something sort of similar to that in there.
Yeah, similar to that and there. It's again, the idea is not even correcting the dog. The idea is to startle. To startle behavior pattern. In other words, approach is correct, redirect, and praise. The dog did something bad. Oh, that's a good boy. Here's your toy. Here's the boy. Here's your toy. I like how I said. Sometimes I say.
I like it. For our viewers who are listening to Vlade talk that way, that's what he was referring to before as Doglish, and we're not. I don't want you to reveal that today because I want to have maybe our next or a subsequent episode so you can explain to Doglish to people and so they can understand how effective that is. But that's what he's doing. He almost has a language that helps the dog really to communicate with the dog and get the dog to understand, because it's kind of the same sounds that a dog's used to when they're in the pack. And so I think that's going to be something that's going to be good for a further episode. Vlade, if that's all the survival kit stuff, then maybe that's a good place for us to leave this one. You gave people a lot of information. You really answered that question thoroughly, right? Is what is the first thing people should do when they first get their dog home, and it's really being prepared with their survival kit and a lot of the things they're going to need, as well as, like you said, trying to be a little bit relaxed the first week and let the dog get familiar with the environment and your house, and you get familiar with the dog and that kind of thing. Any last maybe quick tips or anything to add to that? My last suggestion would be
like I said, every dog coming with some kind of weak points, I will put this way. So focus on the positive. Don't momentarily start to focus on the negative part of what you see. Start on the positive, and after that, try to manage and improve negative. Don't expect things gonna be perfect. For instance, if your dog is a little bit off with the dogs, we have a lot of things what to do and how social. Don't attempt to socialize your dog to other dogs. You heard all these things and about how to do it on neutral territory and how to do this. Believe me, people, one mistake, you done. This is the one thing you should do it just under supervision with professional, especially if you have another pet in your home. We can talk with you about next time how socialize to the member of the family, to the man. Sometimes the dog's a little bit more not sure about man. What about cousin? What about neighbor Mike is coming to your home? You think you just need to open the door and let the dog go like that? And have a dog on the leash? Who told you that? It's a bad idea to do it. So another bad idea, walk your dog in your neighborhood. Yeah. I know you've been told about this. I know you hear it. It's bad idea. Why? Because you're agitating your dog. Because in your neighborhood you have a lot of dogs who's not trained. Not bad dogs, but maybe bad owners, or I would say maybe owners who were misled or don't understand specific things. So your dog gonna be barked on. And eventually you start to think, hey, once I go outside, I just don't like anyone, and I let them bark at them before they bark at me. It's agitation. So you better off avoid the situation, and so you can put your dog in your vehicle, if it's possible, of course. Drive to the huge area where you can play with your dogs, okay? And if you want to socialize your dog, and if you have information from your rescue, that shelter, that your dog is good with other dogs. Yeah, you can go to the dog park with some cautious, but don't do it on yourself.
Yeah. The shelter has that information too, Vladi, right? At least the shelters that I've been volunteering, they know which dog is dog reactive and which isn't and stuff like that. So
that's what I said, exactly.
Right?
Educate yourself, and after use that knowledge. So don't attempt to do yourself. If you have a weak point, remember, behavioral problems like disease. The more you wait, the more you procrastinate, the harder it's going to be to fix it, and with the less result, and more dangerous in some cases. Separation anxiety is a huge way. If you're not careful, dogs, especially needy dogs, insecure dogs, can create separation, and that's totally different story, because I have a education specific in animal behavior. So this is my forte. I'm not just sit, stay, calm down. Look for him, and I'm sure a lot of great trainers and behaviorists around. So, but don't attempt to do it on yourself.
Awesome. And I totally agree with that, because I'm a pretty smart guy, and I was like, I'm going to get this Labrador, cute little puppy. I get this all figured out. I have YouTube. I have the internet. It's not hard or whatever. And it was one of the hardest things I had to do until I learned the right way, which is what you taught me. And not just you, right? There's a lot of, like you said, a lot of dog trainers out there that know good techniques and stuff like that. And you just got to learn the right way, just like you learned how to drive. You didn't drive a car without learning how to drive, right? You crash in 2 seconds. So, it's a similar thing.
Thank you, Larry. And I would like to at the end to tell you thank you so much for doing it with me. I truly enjoy it. You allowed me, you're amazing interviewer. You allowed me to be myself.
Well,
but I also would like to put wonderful words about you. You were very modest, and you didn't say, at least I didn't hear it clearly, what you're really doing. You're doing truly God-giving things. You are blessing things. You using your knowledge, like you said, something from me, something from other great trainers. We trainers should have a tremendous respect to each other. See, it's another story. I know my success creates jealousy, and I try to be so nice to everyone, and I so hope this is feeling are mutual, because I'm sure many trainers listening that podcast. But you use that knowledge and doing what? You are helping now shelter's dog to be adopted. You literally, because you're the big chief, you're owner, you CEO of the big company, but you volunteering your time, going to the shelters, taking the dogs, people who truly hard to adopt, working with them, they become adoptable, and now you have a success. About few of them is already adopted.
Yeah.
Yes? You just start with it.
And pit bulls too, right? Dogs that are very hard to adopt, that are people normally scared of or whatever. But Vlade, I couldn't have done it without you. I mean, what I learned from you gave me the confidence to, help these dogs. And I told you also before that not only have I worked in the shelter dogs, but somehow I've been like finding these lost dogs and reuniting with people. And I'm not at all afraid to grab a lost dog on the street or anything like that. And you've taught me how to approach a dog correct. Most people have no idea how to approach a dog correctly. They think they're supposed to walk up and stick their hand in its face and
Terrible.
And so, most people who do, everyone learns that and they think that's what they're supposed to do, and you easily get bit. So you've just given me and actually not just me, but so many people out there the confidence not only to deal with our own dogs, but even to help maybe our neighbors or our friends when we see them struggling and they don't have any training, can teach them a tip or two that we've learned from you. So we're all very lucky to do that because these animals are beautiful animals. They're so loving, and when you treat them like a dog and not a human, they're even more loving because they're respectful to you and they become a good part of the family. And you teach people how to do that, and it really is awesome.
Because the dogs become not just loving owners, but they also respect them. What I noticed before my training, many dogs loved their owners but did not respect them. I always tell them respect is not something in their cultural, is given, it's taken. And leaders have totally different demeanors. I teach my clients not just how talk like a dog, but also how think like a dog, how walk like a dog, based on the dog's cultural, based on the dog's language. Dog training from the dog's point of view is the secret of my success. One of my teachers, mentor, was absolutely mute and deaf dog trainer mentor from Russia, from Kazakhstan, on the Russia-China border. He trained Soviet Union K9 special forces. This information can be probably declassified, but like you said, KGB still has a very long, big ears and long hands. So we train them jumping from aircraft. I'm not saying what country, still nothing, but jump from aircrafts. And after together, it's like was K9 drones. With the people, they jump, and after that they navigate. People, soldiers dropped on the ground and foreign territory. And after they navigated them from the distance, and the dog did something. What? I will not say.
I mean,
but no exploding, nothing like that.
If you can teach a dog to do that, Vlade, I know you can teach him to walk around the block nicely with you. That's for sure.
Yeah, after such experience, for me to do this, it's like for a brain surgeon to ask him to put the shot in my butt. So it's a sort of simple. But thank you so much, Larry, for having me. I need to go now to train crazy dogs. I would not say...
Now you got to go do your regular job.
Yeah, I would not say crazy dogs. I would say dogs are okay. People are crazy. Some. I love them. I love my clients.
But it's true, Vlade, though, right? The dogs need a little training. The people usually need a lot of training, and then you've got a good relationship there. All right, so on some subsequent episodes, I just wrote a few notes here that we're going to talk a little bit about Doglish, maybe on we want to talk about escalation. That's a super important thing that I bet people have no idea what that means when it comes to dog training, and it was such an important thing to help me with my dog. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about separation anxiety in an episode subsequently. So thanks, Vlade. You're the best. I really appreciate you being here, and you're amazing. Thank you.
Love you all. Thank you
Powered
so
by
much.
Take care.
Riverside.
Bye-bye.